How's it going today, guys? My name is JSP, and today I will be talking about the press conferences that Ryan Poles went on today, pre-combine. Technically it started today, and he just went on like an interview spree, just like a whole lot of GMs did. And I'll be going over what he talked about and all of that stuff and all the meat and potatoes. So, Ryan Poles, okay, what did he say in his press conferences? First things first, what he said is there is a lot of possibilities where he sees himself in a scenario that he will possibly trade back the number one pick before free agency. That obviously free agency starts in about 2 weeks. Well, a little bit less than 2 weeks now. So that is very, very quick. So, in between the combine, because it's not going to happen during it, because he's got to evaluate everybody, all the QBs, everybody. He sees a scenario, a potential scenario that he could trade the pick before free agency. Now, I personally do not agree with this. Okay, let me explain. I don't agree with this because when you get closer to the draft, you get teams that are even more desperate to trade, and they are willing to give up more, if that makes sense. You have teams like the Raiders. I don't know. You know those QB needy teams. When you get closer to the draft and you're low bidding for the first overall pick before free agency, and then free agency hits and you don't end up getting that Derek Carr, that Aaron Rodgers, that Lamar Jackson, whoever. You don't end up getting the guy you want. So when you're nearing the draft, a day, 2 days, a week before, teams start getting desperate, and then they start throwing offers at Ryan Poles because, hey, we're desperate. What do you want for the first overall pick? What do you want? They are desperate to get that first overall pick. So, I really want it to happen because that would 100% mean Justin Fields is our guy. But at the same time, I don't really agree with it because, well, Justin Fields is our guy, but I also don't agree with it just because of the point I made. When you get closer to the draft, teams get more desperate. So, moving on, he also said the same thing he said in his other press conference like a month or two ago, where he doubled down on, he said, I would still have to be absolutely blown away to take a quarterback with the first overall pick. Now, me personally, I don't think any quarterback in this draft is that type of blow away type quarterbacks. Yeah, you got Bryce Young, who could possibly be a generational talent, but you're sitting at number one. You have the most cap space in the entire NFL by far, and you already have a quarterback. You've already seen what he does. You've seen him in the building. You know his personality. There's no point of giving up a potentially good quarterback for another potentially good quarterback, because they both have potential. I'm not saying they don't, but yeah, Ryan Poles says he has to be absolutely blown away to take a QB at number one, like he said 2 months ago, and I get it. He also said we are going to do our homework. You have the number one overall pick, and we haven't had one since 1947, where the big draft era came to be. We haven't had a first overall pick since. So, what do? You evaluate the quarterbacks at hand because you have the first overall pick, and hopefully you won't have the first overall pick for a very, very long time. So when you do have it, you need to evaluate everything on the table. It makes sense. It shows other teams that you may or may not be interested in taking a quarterback, and that is threatening to what they want. They want quarterbacks. It is threatening to what they want. So what do? They hit you with a massive package so that you won't take a quarterback and you end up giving them the first overall pick. It just makes sense, okay? There's a lot of people mad that Ryan Poles didn't announce that Justin Fields is our guy, but at the same time, in that same interview, he said he plans, okay? Plans. He didn't say 100%, but he said he plans to have Justin Fields as the starting quarterback next season, okay? He also said, which I really like, Ryan Poles just had a very, very good press conference. He's all class like usual. But he also said that I really like is that pretty much the entire time, the entire process, before the draft, a week before the draft, a month before the draft, he is going to constantly be in contact with Justin Fields, letting him know what is going on. And I really like that. You need to do that with your quarterback. He is the most important piece on the team. Maybe even get some insight from him. I mean, obviously Ryan Poles makes the final shot, but Justin Fields can tell them what they need, who they need, just any of that. Okay? He even said last year, maybe a week before the draft, he even brought Justin Fields into the war room with Ryan Poles because why not? I mean, he is the guy you build a team around. Okay? He is the most important piece on the team. Now, Ryan Poles also said some other stuff about David Montgomery and all that stuff. He said his feelings have not changed about David Montgomery. David Montgomery wants to be here. Ryan Poles wants him to be here. He didn't go into specifics about the contract and all that stuff, but it's looking like they may or may not get a deal done. But I'm leaning towards they will get a deal done because he was also asked in the CHGO podcast about Saquon. It wasn't off the table, but I don't know if he wanted to go that route with Saquon Barkley if he becomes a free agent, and it looks like he probably will. So, I mean, everyone's saying this is such a weak free agency, but starting today, they started to release a lot of people, like Leonard Fournette got released, Marcus Mariota, all that stuff. And I'm going to get into that later about Marcus Mariota because I think he would be a pretty good backup here. I just think he fits the system more than Trevor Siemian. Like if Fields goes down, hopefully never happens, but if Fields goes down for half the season or even an entire season, I think Marcus Mariota is just more of Fields' style than Trevor Siemian is. So it makes more sense to have him in here, but that's just an idea I've been having. I'm not saying we should do it, but it's just an idea. But Ryan Poles, he had such a classy, he's just a class act. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm going to probably be reacting to the CHGO podcast here. It's like a 15-minute clip. If you want to watch my next video, that's going to be what it is. But Ryan Poles pretty much said, yeah, I plan on having Justin Fields here, but at the same time, we probably will never have the first overall pick ever again. Hopefully, pray to God. But it's awesome that we have it this year, but hopefully never again. Or even close to the first overall pick ever again. But he did say, yes, I plan on having Fields as our starter, but since we have the first overall pick, I have to do my homework. I have to evaluate everything I have on the table, and I would also have to be blown away to pick a quarterback at number 1. And I just don't think he will be. I don't think he's going to be blown away. So, is he going to possibly trade the first overall pick before free agency? Yes. Would I like it to happen? No. Okay, unfortunately, some people probably won't like me saying that, but I just think we should wait until draft week or maybe even draft night. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. How did Ryan Poles do? Did he make you feel better or worse? Whatever. And hit the subscribe button for me. I would really appreciate it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bear down.